Not recordable then. See?
Good evening, everyone. This is the Fraser regular city council meeting of Thursday, April 10th, 2025. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Mr. Gitschlag, could you please call the roll?
Councilmember Baranski.
Present.
Mayor Lesich.
Yes. Here.
Councilmember Odell.
Here.
Councilmember Perry.
Here.
Councilmember Shornack.
Present.
Stein.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Sutherland.
Present.
That is a quorum, sir.
Thank you. Item number 4, approval of the agenda. I do have a late addition request by the city manager to add a contract with Benzinski and Company Municipal Finance Advisor. Sorry about that. I would like to add that as item 7B and move items B through I to become C through J.
Second that.
Okay. Any other adjustments, additions, deletions to the agenda as presented? If not, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
Okay, motion by Councilmember Baranski, seconded by Councilmember Shornack to approve the amended agenda as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. The agenda is approved. All right, this item number 5, citizen participation on agenda items. This is the portion of the meeting. If you won't be around for a later, for an item that is happening later in the meeting, you can speak now and talk about that agenda item for up to 5 minutes. Anyone in the audience like to speak? All right, seeing none, we will move on. Item number 6, consent agenda. I would entertain a motion for the consent agenda or any pullout.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, motion by Mayor Pro Tem Sutherland, seconded by Councilmember Odell to approve the consent agenda as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Consent agenda is approved. All right, item number 7A, Resolution 2025-006 to authorize sale of bonds for the Industrial Park Road Special Assessment District. City Manager Levin.
We have got a representative from Bond Council here to present this item on behalf of the city.
Good evening.
Good evening. So what you have before you is the second step, and the second and final step before we sell bonds for the capital improvement bonds for the industrial park. So if you recall, back in January, council authorized the publication of a notice of intent that was published in the paper, and with that came a right of referendum that allowed for residents to file a petition within 45 days of the publication of that notice. We've passed that 45-day period, and no referendum has been filed with the clerk. So the next step is to authorize the actual issuance of the bonds. So this is a rather lengthy resolution that I'll break down and make it relatively simple. There's about 10 pages of this resolution are just forms. There's a form of the bond and there's a form of the notice of sale. So the resolution authorizes an issuance of a series of bonds of not to exceed $9 million that can only be used to finance the improvements in the industrial park. It provides that the bonds will be secured by the full faith and credit of the city. Again, the expectation is a portion up to $4 million will be gathered from special assessments and used to pay debt service on the bonds. It provides for the establishment of a debt retirement fund. That's the fund where monies to pay debt service will be allocated. So the special assessments when they come in, and any general fund monies and other funds that the city allocates to payment of debt service will go into that fund. And then there's a construction fund that will be established where the bond proceeds will go into. We'll track those separately. They'll be invested in authorized investments that the city's authorized to invest through under Act 20. And we'll want to track the expenditure of those funds and the investment of those funds for the life of the bond issue. Once the project's completed and those funds are expended, you can close that fund. Again, it provides for the form of bond, and it also provides that the bonds will be sold pursuant to a method called a competitive sale. That means that we will publish a notice in the bond buyer at the direction of the city manager that says, hey, we're going to sell bonds on this particular date. And that notice, it's about 7 or 8 pages of this resolution goes through the kind of the details of the bonds for an investor to look at, to say, okay, we're going to receive bids at this particular date. Here's the parameters under which they can bid. It has a brief summary of the purpose of the bonds, the security of the bonds, the tax exempt status of the bonds, and when the bonds are expected to be delivered. So that currently is on the current schedule has us selling bonds on June 19th, or June 18th, I should say, with a closing sometime the second week of July. So that's when bond proceeds will actually be received by the city and deposited into that construction fund. So once that sale takes place, so we'll get bids on that particular date. Stephen in his office at Benzinski and Company will gather up those bids, and we'll have a call to determine who bid and whose bid produces the lowest true interest cost. So under the resolution, that of the authority to authorize to award the bonds has been delegated to the city manager to basically award the bonds to the bidder whose bid produces the lowest true interest cost. And the reason we do that is you're required by law, if you sell bonds pursuant to this method, to sell to the actual lowest true interest cost if you accept any bonds. If the market if we have a really, really bad day in the market, and we've had a really, really bad day in the market the last few days, today being an exception, there is the opportunity that you could reject all the bids and say, you know what, this is just an anomaly of a day. We'll come back, we'll publish another notice, and we'll sell on another date. That determination will be made in connection with the financial advisor and the city manager saying, okay, this doesn't, we think we can get better rates coming back in a couple of weeks because there's something happening with the markets. Even though we had sales this week, everybody awarded their bids that were received this week still. So, but that's a determination that we allow for that delegation in the resolution. A couple final things that we authorize. There are some documents that are being prepared that will be circulated to the market for their review. One's called an official statement. So this is the document that that Benzinski and Company prepares that we actually utilize, that if I'm an investor and I know nothing about the City of Fraser or these bonds, that's kind of my prospectus. I can look and see, and it has a detail on all the details of the bonds, when's principal interest being paid, can the bonds be called, can they be redeemed early, which they can be, and some of the parameters for them bidding. It also has a full appendix on the financial information of the city. So what's your tax base look like? Who are your major taxpayers? What type of labor agreements do you have? Do you have, what's your history of tax levies and collection? So if I know nothing about the City of Fraser, so if I'm an investor from Montana and I want to buy these bonds, that document will provide me all the information I need to make an informed investment decision. This document gets authorized as part of this resolution. And then finally, it provides for an update to that document annually. So because these bonds will be outstanding for a number of years, if I want to buy these bonds in a secondary market, so that's 2, 3, 5 years later, I can go back to that original document, and every annual update that you do, and that refreshes that document so that I'll have the most relevant information I need at that time to make a good informed investment decision. So it's called a continuing disclosure, that you will continually disclose and update information on the city. And it's only a couple of tables within that document, not the full document. So that's kind of the substance of the full resolution. Again, the plan would be to sell, if we get authorized today, to sell bonds on June 18th and have bond proceeds on July 10th.
Okay, anything else that we should know? Is that it? All right, any questions from council regarding this process? So what we have to do is we have to adopt this resolution 2025-006.
Correct.
All right, I'd entertain a motion to do that. Councilman Odell.
I'll make a motion to accept the resolution 2025-006 to authorize sale of bonds for the industrial roads, Park Roads special assessment as submitted.
Second.
Okay, is it accept or adopt, Mr. Denault? Do we need any specific?
Right, that's a fair question. Accept would not be technically accurate. I think it would be to adopt or approve or one of those two.
You said accept.
Okay, I'll change that to adopt.
I'll second the modification.
All right, thank you very much. So, any member of the audience would like to speak on this topic? Seeing none, motion by Councilmember Odell, seconded by Councilmember Baranski to adopt Resolution 2025-006, resolution authorizing 2025 capital improvement bonds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is adopted. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we have item 7B, which is a contract with Benzinski and Company related to the bonds. City Manager, please.
We've got Steve Hayduck from Benzinski and Company here to answer any questions that you might have. This is in conjunction with the Industrial Park Roads. They would be serving as our municipal financial advisor and going through the process of the sale of the bonds.
And I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name again.
Stephen Hayduck.
Can you move that microphone over there so we can all hear you?
Stephen Hayduck.
Okay.
Sorry.
Thank you, and tell us what's going on here tonight.
So I'm from Benzinski and Company, as City Manager Levin mentioned. We've been working with the city and City Manager Levin going back to last year on this issue, as well as, the library issue. We are financial advisors to the city. We help structure the bond issue, size the bond issue, bring it to market, prepare the official statement, as Tom Colas said, work with the city, going to the rating agency, walking through that process, and then ultimately helping Tom prepare all the documents with the necessary parameters for the bond issue, and then getting it to market. So this is going to be sold in June. Once all those bids come in, we'll verify the bids, make our recommendation, prepare all the final numbers, the closing memo, which outlines where the money's going on the day of closing, to whom, how much, all that good stuff, and then help the city secure the funds on the day of close.
Okay. And it says here your fee is $32,500 for that service?
Correct, and it's payable if and when the bond issue closes.
Okay. Are there any other fees or charges that we will be assessed related to this issue? I see there's $450 to the state or something.
Yeah, for our fee is the $32,500, and then there's the $450 fee for the Municipal Advisory Council of Michigan.
Okay, and this would cover everything to the issuance of the bonds?
Well, our fee.
Your
terms
fee?
of- yes.
Your fee. You're sitting in front of me, so.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. Any questions by council on this? All right, anyone would like to make a motion to adopt this or to approve this contract?
I'll make a motion to adopt the contract as presented.
Second.
Okay, motion, let's see, any member of the audience like to speak on this? Any member of council? All right, motion by Councilmember Shornack, seconded by Councilmember Baranski to approve the contract with Benzinski and Company Municipal Finance Advisors related to the 2025 capital improvement bonds at a fee of $32,500. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor and council members.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 7C, Act 51 map certifying, decertifying roads.
So our engineering company conducted an audit of the maps for the major and local streets and found some inaccuracies. There are 4 resolutions that you have before you tonight for consideration to correct those inconsistencies. If you have any other questions about that, we have Engineer Mike Vigner on here to answer those as well.
Mr. Vigneron, tell me about Gladys Street.
Gladys Street, so the city's Act 51 map has shown a portion of Gladys Street south of 14 Mile Road, actually connecting to Park Lane as a city street for a long time. So the city actually receives money from the state based on the roads that are certified on your Act 51 map. And occasionally, the state will audit the files, and we've been aware of a lot of those audits recently. We've conducted our own independent audit of the city's map, and Gladys Street has been on there for a number of years. So essentially, the entrance to Stephens Park off 14 Mile Road. At one time was considered Gladys Street. It connects to Gladys Street between south of the park. The city has been getting money for that road, and it's really not a road, a city street by any stretch of the imagination.
Unfortunately, we've never spent any money fixing that street.
No.
And the other streets, can you just give us a brief?
Sure. So we've
Overview
got
of what
the addition of Fraser Drive. So this is the portion of Fraser Drive south of 14 Mile Road. I believe it terminates currently at Willamine, and there's a small stub that extends further south towards the drain. That part of Fraser Drive was not on your Act 51 map, so we're correcting that. Similar with Toulouse and Luxembourg, as additional subdivisions were added to the west end of those roads, and the cul-de-sacs were built and things like that. Those small additions were never added to your Act 51 certification or street system. So as part of the audit, we recognized there were, in some cases, 300 feet, 350 feet of street that could be added to your network. Every foot of street, you get money from the state. So while we are removing 707 feet of Gladys, this still is a net increase to the city. So we felt it appropriate to correct the inconsistencies and do that at this time.
So I believe Toulouse had a cul-de-sac added to it at one point in time.
Correct. Yeah.
And that's what that is for.
Right. So for the state certification, they need a resolution from City Council adopting these roads into the city street system
Okay.
and designating them as major or local. So the resolution before you includes the language required by the state in the resolution, a description of the center line of the road. In a lot of cases, there's existing plats that we can provide, but we do have the survey document. In general, roads are measured from the center of the connecting street to the end of the road or to the next center of the connecting street. So that's all been accounted for in the survey and the legal description, as well as the distances presented.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Baranski.
Yeah, I was just wondering, I just wanted to confirm, having lived on Fraser and now living on Kingston, is Kingston already on? Because it's same thing, cul-de-sac added, probably another.
Yeah, we checked those streets, and that the last subdivision on Kingston was added
Okay.
at that time.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah, I remember when Toulouse was added back about 2007.
There were segments, occasionally these come before council, and I think these two, for various reasons, got overlooked.
Yep. All right. I will start by making a motion to adopt Resolution 2025-007, resolution of the City Council of the City of Fraser approving local street addition for Fraser Drive.
Second.
Okay. Any member of council want to speak on this? Any member of the audience? All right, motion by Mayor Lesage, seconded by Councilmember Odell to adopt Resolution 2025-007. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion is adopted. I'll just keep going. I'd like to make a motion to adopt Resolution Number 2025-008, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Fraser approving local street addition for Toulouse Avenue.
Second.
Motion by Mayor Lesage, seconded by Councilmember Odell. Anyone in the audience? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. I'll just keep going. I'd like to make a motion to adopt Resolution 2025-009, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Fraser approving local street addition for Luxembourg Avenue.
I'm going to second that one because I live on that street.
Your neighbors will thank you profusely. All right. No. Motion by Mayor Lesage, seconded by Councilmember Perry to adopt Resolution 2025-009. Any member of the audience? Council members? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. All right, last motion. I'd like to make a motion to adopt Resolution Number 2025-010, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Fraser approving a local street decertification for Gladys Street.
Second.
All right, motion by Mayor Lesage, second by Councilmember Shornack to adopt Resolution 2025-010, decertifying Gladys, the local street decertification for Gladys Street. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you very much. All right, item 7D, award of Senior Activity Center rooftop unit replacement.
Thank you.
Take,
Sure.
Shy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. We have before you a recommendation of award for a construction contract for replacement of rooftop units at the senior center. This is a CDBG-funded project. After a public advertisement period, 7 bids were received for this effort. The low bidder, East Side Mechanical, is who we're recommending. Bids came in under estimate and well under the amount of available CDBG money. This will be the last 3 rooftop units remaining at that facility that need to be replaced. The low bidder is estimating a 70-day lead time on these units, so we anticipate sometime later this spring, early summer, when that work will be complete. We're recommending award of the low bid amount along with a construction contingency and a construction administration amount for a total award not to exceed the $150,000 for the CDBG funds and the $7,500 for contract administration.
Okay, any questions? Oh, Councilmember Shornack.
Sure. You're going to know what my question is, right? We're not going to have the same problem and the same nonsense that happened with this building in that building, are we? Because otherwise, I'm going to be a big fat no. This is not the same company and the same.
This is not the same company, and this City Hall project involved a lot more. This is taking the old rooftop off, putting the new rooftop on, and that should be a one-day operation for all of those units. Should be a one-day operation.
And it should work appropriately in the appropriate areas, and we're not going to have to spend a fortune for people to come out and kind of redo it and redo it and redo it because they don't have it right yet.
It should be a one-for-one replacement on the units. As long as everything inside the building is working, there shouldn't be any change in operation.
Okay. If the seniors call, I'll be calling you.
Okay, any other questions by council members? Entertain a motion?
Oh, I guess I will make the motion. Are we not motioning today? To approve the motion, let's see. I'm on the page, so. For the senior center RTU replacement coming for, how much is coming out of the CBGB award?
So we've got 150,000 for that. As presented, it may be a little bit over, but that all depends upon contingencies and what the actual cost will be from the engineer. Likely it will be able to be accomplished within that 150,000.
All right, so to award the contract to, and then my screen just went out. Of course it did. God bless America. Hold on.
Mine?
No, my screen, I just have to double click it again.
East Side Mechanical.
Okay. Well, there you go. Yeah, now it's back up. Huh. Okay, so award the bidder to East Side Mechanical for the recommended city council award, the contract for the bid in the amount of $115,424.44, with the contingency budget of $34,575.56, and the administrative cost of $7,500.
Okay, motion by Councilmember Shornack, seconded by Councilmember Baranski. Any member of the audience would like to speak on this? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much. All right. We are now on to 7E, fiscal year 25-26 budget presentation. City Manager.
All right, I've got a budget presentation. I need the screen down. All right, I've got a pretty basic overview of the budget presentation. Tonight's really an opportunity for me to just give you a little bit of detail about the recommended budget that I have prepared with the department heads. And then after that, we will have the public hearing to accept public comment on the budget. Next week is really when council will take a deep dive into it and talk about it. We'll have all the department heads at the budget workshop next Thursday to further discuss this as well. As far as what I'm planning on going over is just a quick financial overview. the staffing requests, the capital expenses, and a summary. All right, as I said, what I plan on presenting is just a quick financial overview, the staffing requests, capital expenses, and then a brief summary. Next slide. So we talked about this at the pre-planning, and these are the millages that we have had over the last 4 years. And looking at what we currently have, we are at 22.0616, and the recommended millage, which takes into account the Headley rollback, is 21.3525, which is a reduction of 0.7091 in the millage. Taking a look at the next slide, the general fund balance is obviously something that we take a pretty close look at. At the last meeting, we did pass that resolution where we are setting aside 25% fund balance for emergencies. So based on the current budget that we have and the anticipated ending fund balance of $10 million, the fund balance for the beginning of 25-26 would be $10 million, and utilizing 2.2 million of the fund balance, which leaves us with 8 million, which is about 3 million over what we would be required to maintain as that 25% fund balance.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Can you just go back to that slide for a quick second? Because that was a lot of information in a very short time.
Okay.
So we'd be starting with,
So the anticipated ending fund balance in the general fund this year is 10 million.
okay,
So that would be our beginning fund balance for the 25-26 recommended budget.
got it.
And then utilization of 2.2 million of the general fund balance, which would leave us with an ending fund balance at the end of next fiscal year of 8 million.
That means you're going to utilize 2.25 into the current budget to balance the budget.
We'll be utilizing fund balance next year.
Right.
Yep. So with that, at the end of the year, we'll still have 8 million in fund balance in the general fund, which is 3 million above the 5 million that we're required to maintain with that 25%.
Got it.
So we're still kind of in this process of utilizing some of our fund balance. But we're getting to the point where we won't be doing that anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
At best, one more year. Okay, so as far as the expenditures, the majority of the budget that we have is committed expenditures. I've mentioned this in previous years. We have all of our labor contracts, our pension OPEB, all of our contractual obligations from IT services, electricity, gas, assessing, dispatch. And then we have some significant projects that we're still working on this year, and to a certain extent will carry over into next year as well. Masonic Detention Basin, we're still working on completing that. That hopefully will be done by the end of this calendar year. Garfield Road reconstruction, certainly we're in the process of that, and that should be done by fall, I hope. And then the Industrial Park Roads reconstruction, we've already gotten some of that pre-planning work done with the drawings, and that'll be a 2-year project. So talking Talking about pension and OPEB, other post-employment benefits obligation, just as a reminder, our pension, we're around 60% funded. Our net obligation for that is $30 million that we still owe. OPEB, we're about 5% funded, and the net obligation for that is about $26 million. And moving on to the outstanding debt, this certainly is not specifically City of Fraser debt, but because we are on the water and sewer system for OMID and MID, we do have bonds that we are required to incorporate into our utility costs. So that outstanding debt is over $16 million. Moving on to the staffing requests that we have in this recommended budget for 25-26. These are all the things that we talked about at the pre-planning workshops. So we're looking at the consideration of a part-time building clerk to help support the building department when we have vacation and sick leave. Certainly also helping to cover a little bit better because we do have occasions when we have multiple people at the counter. So being able to help with that and have backup should something happen. Part-time economic development, we've talked about this a little bit, about bringing someone in to be able to take a look at our downtown area and other areas outside of downtown and helping to improve the economic situation in the city of Fraser. We've also talked about at previous meetings a full-time sergeant fire marshal, which is a position that really is not currently fully staffed, and we've all talked about the circumstance with GU and that it's really important to have a fire marshal to make sure that all of the buildings that we have are thoroughly checked and reviewed on an annual basis for safety. Also considering a full-time recreation clerk. This is kind of the next step that we're looking to move forward with and ramping up our recreation programming. And then also a full-time DPW working foreman. This is someone that would be out on site and managing the crews on site and making sure that everything is done according to their work. Total estimated cost for these staffing requests is around $300,000. Can move on to the capital expenses. Next slide. So for the budget, we're looking at buildings and grounds, a number of items, including epoxy floor for the DPW, salt dome extension, some landscaping over at the Senior Activity Center, some more banners, and a new City Hall digital sign. The current sign that we have out in front of City Hall has some errors or problems with the board. I don't know if you've noticed, but one side for some reason isn't communicating properly. I did get an estimate for a repair, which was almost $2,000. I've got that on hold pending our budget for consideration of that. Public safety, we've got some vehicles, some replacement pistols for the staff, and also a new ambulance. Public Works, continuing that work on the Masonic Detention Basin. As you will recall, the majority of the cost of this was covered by the ARPA funds. So this is an ongoing project that we hope to have complete by the end of the year. Also, Linden Station abandonment. This is a project that we've found is a problem that we need to correct sooner rather than later, unfortunately. Parks, I've just got $200,000 earmarked in the budget for some capital expenses for parks yet to be determined. Next slide. Major and local streets, we've got $1.5 million of investment in our major and local streets, including resurfacing of Klein from Garfield to Utica, Callahan overlay, Hayes to Grove, Morningside and Nadine reconstruction, Elodie's Schoolcraft, Vernetta, Cyril water main coordination, consideration of Mulvey pathway planning, and then miscellaneous other projects, including some sign replacement, joint sealing, pavement marking, concrete work. And then also a significant project with the industrial park roads, which we obviously approved a couple of issues with that, the resolution and the agreement for the municipal agent to help us with the industrial park roads for that SAD. From the rubbish fund, we're looking to get a new trailer-mounted leafer, so continuing that leaf collection program, and also some heavy-duty trash cans to repair ones throughout, or replace ones throughout the parks that we have. Next slide. Senior housing, we're looking at continuing some of the improvements that we have been making over the last couple of years. This is really catch-up work that we have not done for a number of years. This would be really the third year of significant investment in the building, and we've got at least one more year to do some significant investment. Replacing more HVAC and hot water heaters in the units, replacing the entry doors, adding some carport lighting for safety, a courtyard gazebo and furniture, some safety cameras and Wi-Fi for the building in the community spaces, and emergency generator carryover. We did have that in the current budget, and it likely will not be able to be achieved in this current budget. For water and sewer, we've got those water main coordination projects that I was talking about. And then for motor pool, purchasing 3 4-wheel drive trucks with plow blades for replacement. So these capital expenses are about $15 million. It's in line with what we spent last year. Actually, it's a little bit reduced when you factor out the industrial park roads. So in summary, projecting an average revenue increase of about 3% and average cost increase of 3 to 4%. Obviously, that varies on contract, size of contract. We have contract negotiations that we're going to be starting for clerical, DPW, and the courts, and also for the POLC for the captains. We have the net liabilities for water, sewer, pension, OPEB of the $72 million. Our estimated revenues in this recommended budget are $46.5 million, and our estimated expenses are $48 million. As I mentioned, we will be utilizing a little bit more of fund balance this year. For the capital expenses, I mentioned the $15 million, so we have $9.5 million in the current budget of capital. Estimated new labor costs of approximately $308,000 I mentioned is about a 4% increase in our current labor costs. And that is all that I have for the summary. All the information is available online if anybody would like to take a look at the budget that we have. And that really concludes my presentation for council tonight. And I thank you for the opportunity to present this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So then next, we meet on the 17th?
Correct.
Okay. And we'll have a deep dive at that point in time?
Correct.
All right, I had a couple things. On the budget that you have here, you have the 22-23 amended budget, 23-24 amended budget, and then but those are budgets, those are not reality. Can we get the actuals for those 2 years put instead?
Absolutely.
If I'm comparing, I want to know what we actually spent, because these budgets had several issues with them, and I'd rather know where we've been and where you propose to take us. So, if there's space, now the requested budget is what the department head asked for, and the recommended budget is what the city manager said, this is what we're going to ask for.
Correct.
Okay. Let's see. Can you pull, where is it? Department 900 in general fund? I think it's 900. 961, sorry. Item, line number 961, 724.3, retiree healthcare OPEB. It's on page 9. So it's the 1, 2, 3, fourth line down. You have it? Okay. It says here, this includes a $207,000 annual payment, that's for a corrective action plan, and then an additional $500,000 payment for OPEB?
Correct.
Okay. Ed? Ed?
We have an echo.
Let's try this again. Okay. In your February presentation, you mentioned that you were proposing $500,000 to go to pension. And this is not pension, this is retiree health care. So is that, have you changed your mind, or what's the?
Might have misspoke. I will get with Angeli and we'll determine what the best option would be.
Well, you actually, what you said was, and it made sense, was we've been bouncing around about 60%, and you wanted to keep it at 60%. This one's funded, as you show, as at 5%.
Right.
So I don't think this is the right line item for that.
Okay.
And given that we've had issues with budgeting this before, I want to make sure that we're putting this, if you're proposing it, that it's in the right slot.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Anjali. I think we are talking about OPEB because last year we did 1.25 million extra.
Right.
I think that's, we are proposing again 500K for the OPEB.
Okay, but that's not what was said in February. The specific reason was that I watched the meeting last night, and that it was, that we've been bouncing around 60%, and that you had spoken with Anjali about it. And I just want to make sure, because this happened in 2021, and it was brought to the attention of the city manager and the finance director, and it still went into the wrong account. So I just want to make sure that what you say you want is what is going to be done, and it's not clear from this, so.
We will have clarity for
Okay.
next Thursday.
And I want to make sure that we're clear on that when we get to that point, so. Those are the two main things that I had at the moment. Any other, the other thing is, if we can have as clear a picture of what's happening for this year as so we don't have any surprises. Last year, we had an additional $400,000 on the May meeting when we adopted the budget. And then there was, so I'd like to make sure that we have all of our expenses for this year pretty forecast and locked and loaded, so that we know, because back in February, it was like $4.5 million for our fund balance that we had, and now we're down to $3 million by the end of next year. So just want to make sure that we're on track and that we know where we're headed. Any other comments by council? All right, then yes.
Actually, yes.
Sure, go for it.
I do have one. As far as the recreation budget goes, I would like to see an alternative plan with the overall recreation budget to reduce expenses, to only cover Christmas in Fraser, the parade that occurs in accordance with the city picnic, as well as the annual city picnic itself. In 2020, recreation was shuttered during COVID, and a promise was made to the residents at that time that then recreation would come back like a rising phoenix from the ashes. And since that promise was made, I've seen no substantive plan provided to council. Only recreation that's really consistent in the city is for seniors. I don't think that we're getting our bang for our buck where recreation is at all, and we haven't for years. We talked in the last meeting about potentially partnering with RARE, which is the Roseville and East Point Recreation Authority. They have a robust recreation program, and I think that we probably could save some money and have a lot more to offer our residents if we just partnered with them. Because at this point, unless you're really a senior, there's nothing. So our residents deserve better, and, asking for more money for recreation, a full-time recreation clerk, it's been 5 years. I'm not seeing the value.
So just to be clear, you're looking for what a number would be for the big three events and partnering with Rare and continuing with the senior programming that we have?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Baranski.
Yeah, just to piggyback off that, because I wasn't prepared for a deep dive today, but I noticed that, because we did have a conversation about this, our city is clearly changing because even the programs we are offering for kids aren't getting filled. Skyhawks can't get the participation. So it may be wise to reevaluate what the Phoenix is because the city is different. And as much as we say we want it like it was before, the things we're offering aren't getting filled. So,
And I am
Yeah.
totally with you. And actually, I think 3 years ago, we had this conversation. And yet, here we still are trying to shove flag football down the throats of people who don't want to participate in flag football, yet we have nothing for everybody else.
that's fair.
I'm tired of it.
All right, any other members of council would like to speak on this at this time? All right, seeing none, any member of the audience would like to talk? We're going to have a public hearing in 1 minute, so we can talk then too. All right, let's move on to item 7F, fiscal year 2025 budget public hearing. I would like to open the public hearing for the City of Fraser 2025-26 budget at 7:17 p.m. If there's anyone like to speak on the budget tonight, please come on up and share your thoughts, concerns, whatever. All right. Ed. All right, seeing none, I will close the public hearing at 7:18. Thank you very much. We will now move on to item 7G, Stephens Park Tennis and Pickleball Court Reconstruction Proposal. I believe that's City Manager, City.
No, I was just going to make the motion, but go ahead.
Okay, well,
So you have before you a proposal for the Stephens Park tennis/pickleball court improvements. We've talked about this at the last meeting about how the tennis courts are in a state of disrepair. They are in need of some pretty significant repairs. We did get some bid prices for them and options that you can consider for repairing those as well. To just utilize the existing fence that we have an estimate of approximately $282,000. We could get a new galvanized steel fence, which drives the cost up to almost $380,000, or a new vinyl fence that would be about $400,000. We do have the money in the budget that we had set aside for park improvements of about $400,000. We have $395,000 available. Mike Vigneron is here if you have any additional questions regarding this item.
I do. So, Councilmember Shornick, did you want to say anything before the motion, or?
Well,
I had a question, so I just.
Well, no, I had a question as well, but go ahead.
Okay, no, go ahead.
Well, I want to know, as far as between the galvanized and the vinyl coated, I know the difference. I'm asking as far as wear for all, how would one go up against the other? I mean, realistically.
Yeah, and talking with Mr. Barrett regarding this item, his preference is for the vinyl coated.
Well, that would be everybody's, but yeah.
So you're certainly going to get a longer life. It's and I think most would consider that a more pleasing aesthetic as well for the fence, and certainly I think probably overall better product to consider. Reflected in the higher cost, we were actually surprised to see that the cost was so close, given the general the consideration that vinyl is a better product over just the galvanized steel.
That really did not answer my question. You talked about aesthetics, yes. Well, to some more pleasing. I personally care for the silver fence more, but I get it. It's better because if people hit it for any reason, obviously, it's not as abrasive. But for wherewithal, is there any studies or anything that says one is better than the other for 20 grand? Like, yes, I get that it's more aesthetically pleasing for most, but that's not a reason to do it.
None that come to mind. I don't know if Rob might know of any studies or research, but I'm not aware of any.
Thanks.
Is it quieter? Right.
No,
Okay.
and I can attest to that.
All right, I got lots of lights up here. Councilmember Perry.
I was going to ask a similar question. This is kind of off topic, but Pompo Park has had a fencing around its tennis courts since I used to go there in the 90s. It's the same fence. It's rusty. It looks like crap. I'm assuming the vinyl will last a lot longer than just raw metal. And then my other question, I'll let you answer, or you can, I don't want to cut you off. Go ahead.
I would presume the same.
Okay. How long has, you guys say we need to resurface these tennis courts. How long have they been at Steffens the way they are? Didn't we move the basketball courts to 14 Mile 10, 20 years ago? Were the tennis courts in the same exact position they are now?
Yeah.
They-
They were redone, what, 7 years ago? No, 6 years ago?
They were
My first term of council, resurfaced.
And they've
How long
already,
ago?
and they're already cracking?
It's because the cement underneath has continued to
Okay.
deteriorate. So we put, in essence, asphalt
Put lipstick on a pig,
Yeah.
as she likes to
Okay.
say.
Yeah.
So we're fully
Yeah, we did a patch
resurfacing these with these bids?
Right?
Like,
Yeah, and actually it was, I think, 3 or 4 years ago, and it was even less. It was just recoating the surface, so they didn't even get into any of the asphalt or cracks that were there. It was literally like paint on top of the existing surface.
okay.
So this proposal would actually take off all the asphalt down to the gravel, and new asphalt and 2 lifts, 3 inches, which is pretty typical for these situations. All new nets. The fencing option was presented as it is difficult for contractors to get inside that fenced area and work. While they're there, they're going to have to take down some fence anyways. We thought, you've got to leave a little bit of that asphalt around the edges to work around the fence.
Yep.
You just take it all off, and it's certainly a lot more money, but, is this something that city would like to consider?
Okay.
Okay, Mayor Pro Tem Sutherland.
I can't believe I'm about to say this because it sounds crazy, but $20,000 doesn't sound like a lot of money to just get it done the aesthetically pleasing way that's going to last longer. We spent like $30-something thousand in wood chips last year that needs to be done every year. So if we're talking about $20,000 to just go for the best fence, it seems like a no-brainer to just do it because it's going to last longer, it's going to look better, it's going to make everyone's lives easier. Let's just stop kicking the can down the road, pay for the gold standard, and just do option number 3 and just get it done. Nickel and diming over $20,000 seems silly.
Are you feeling okay today?
I'm spicy today.
I swear to God. Somebody check her.
Who is that woman? Check her ID.
Right, before I go to Councilmember Baranski, I just asked my question. Will there be any improvements to the accessibility of it? Because right now there's a curb there. Will there be a ramp? Any accommodations for
ADA compliant.
ADA, so people on a walker, people with, they might want to watch?
I don't believe we had that included, but we certainly can add it, and that's, we had presented a contingency for council's consideration as well. I would believe that would fit well within that contingency.
I just think it's time that we start incorporating ADA whenever possible. And I know the parking lot was done well after after those tennis courts. That's how long it's been, so.
Okay.
I would like to see some ADA. Are there any benches included or any kind of seating? Because right now we don't have any of that.
No, there's no seating including, this was
Okay.
pretty much replace the surface.
Okay, so we can come back and add, will there be room to add those kind of things to some degree?
I would imagine there would be. Certainly there's regulations in terms of minimum distances from the back lines, I don't remember the proper term, to the fence. We'll want to make sure that we maintain those for play. I don't know how serious the pickleballers here are in Fraser, but
Getting pretty
be
serious.
Legit.
Once these courts are new, it's going to be.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. We've been getting emails, so that is pretty legit.
Yeah, and just to respond to Councilmember Perry's thing, that was a 5-year plan when we did it. We said we're going to put $35,000 into it to get us 5 years down the road so we can then make a long-term decision. And it's done exactly what we expected. It was not meant to be a long-term fix at all. Councilmember Ransky.
Yeah, so I just want to clarify a couple things. The one thing that we did last time that ended up being beneficial was when we were talking about Steffens Park, whoever was sitting there at the time with your assistance, got a quote to also do Pompo Park, and it was significantly cheaper because they already had the equipment and everything. So I would love to see, I know it's cart after the horse, but I would love to see what it would be when they're out doing this, so that it was literally like, it's sort of like building that third car garage from scratch instead of adding it. That'd be my one thing. My second thing is, the final configuration, that's not yet been decided. This is just to redo the area, or, so the one thing we were talking about, or someone was talking about, was possibly instead of, it was currently 4 tennis courts, right?
Correct.
Reconfiguring it to designated pickleball tennis modified. Is that, does this quote allow that, or is?
Yeah, I'd have to dig into it again, but I know we had striping for both included. So I believe 2 of the courts were going to be striped for both tennis and pickleball.
But it's going to be the tennis fence as opposed to designated pickleball fence?
You've got an adjustable fence so that you could, or adjustable net so that you can.
The net, sorry, I said the wrong word.
Yeah, so that includes new nets that are adjustable.
Okay, which just those wear and tear, up and down, breaking. I just was probably too late. I would have liked to seen it designated.
Designated, two courts designated? We can,
If it didn't change, I mean, that just to me seems logical, like, they weren't really. They're adjustable, just. Yeah, no, we're just gonna have broken, because now people are. Pickleball's different. Have you played pickleball? It's different. It's so good when it's clear and it's defined.
There yet.
Oh, well, I am. Anyway, those are my thoughts.
I'm with
But
you on that one. I'm not there
100% in
yet.
favor of doing it right, doing the whole thing so that the whole thing looks amazing. So I'm fully in favor of option 3, and just hopefully getting a really good discount on doing Pompo Park.
Okay. All right, Councilmember Perry has left the,
He'll be right back. He asked if we could hold off just for one moment.
I'm going to, that's why I mentioned that he's not here.
Yes.
So, okay. And any idea how long this would take? I'm trying to stall while Mr. Perry is out of the room.
when we put the invitation to bid out, we did ask that all the work be done and complete by the end of the fiscal year. So we're, barring any unforeseen issues, we anticipate all the work will be done before June 30th.
Okay.
Did they give you a start date if once approved? Because if they're going to be down the whole summer, then that's going to be a whole nother issue. The Facebookers will be at everybody.
End of the fiscal year is June 30th.
June
That's the
30th
one
is
you're
the
talking about,
fiscal
right?
year.
Oh, you're, okay, fiscal year, I thought yours.
Yeah, and I should know most of these contractors that do this type of work are also really big into the school work. So when school gets out, middle of June, they're booked for the summer. So a lot of these contractors are looking for work to kind of start the season off before they get into their school work, and that's kind of what we were targeting. It's really the perfect time to get them under contract. It'll maybe be a month in May and into June, early June, before everything's done. The fence will probably come after the paving's done, but the paving contractor is going to lead the effort, and then they'll be paved
Okay.
before school starts.
Just a harebrained idea. We'll be pulling all the fence that's currently there. Is there any chance of repurposing some of that fence over by the baseball diamonds that are, our baseball diamonds are rather, especially along the dugout sides? Could we,
I think
and if the answer is no,
That'd be a
that's
Rob's
fine.
question.
there's always an option to do that. Depends on the lengths of the runs that you've got, if it's all one continuous piece.
I'll leave that in the hands of our capable DPW, and Mr. Perry has returned.
Sorry.
So,
We stopped for you. Yeah.
I thought you guys.
would anyone like to make a motion on this?
I will make a motion.
Okay.
Fine, yes, I'll go with option 3 since everybody wants to Cadillac. So I will make a motion to authorize the improvements to Steffens Park tennis courts for the amount of the $399,354 to include the vinyl coated fence to the asphalt specialist, awarded to the asphalt specialist LLC, and authorize AEW to provide the contract for administration services.
Second.
Okay, motion by Councilmember Shornack, seconded by Councilmember Baranski to approve option 3. Any member of the audience like to speak on this topic? Seeing none, any other council member comments?
I do have one other question. So we already said had what, 400 put aside? Okay, does that also include the 200,000 that you're talking about for additional park improvements or no?
That's for the next fiscal year.
Okay, so that's for, okay, so this is for this year. I just want to make sure,
Correct.
we're budgeting properly. So, okay, I just wanted to know. Thank you.
All right, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you very much. Execute this. Thank you very much.
All the pickleballers will be happy.
Oh, my gosh.
Apparently, it's only old people, according to her.
Item number 7H, Senior Housing Rate Study. City Manager Levin.
At a previous meeting, it was requested to take a look at the revenues and expenses for senior housing and to do a comparison based upon what some of our neighbors and other municipalities are charging for their rent, and to make a recommendation if the rates need to be raised or not. Rob has done a lot of the legwork for this, and based on all of the information that we have and he has provided, it's recommended to raise the monthly rate for both the single and double room units by $40 each per month.
Council questions? Mayor Pro Tem Sutherland.
So if we were to approve this, what does the process look like for evaluating the rent at the senior housing going forward? Because I don't think that ideally raising it by not an arbitrary amount, because Rob, I'm sure, did a wonderful job, but just a more systematic way to increase it along with maybe inflation, or to get on a schedule of regularly assessing the increase so that every 7 years it doesn't come out of nowhere, and it's more fair and could take more incremental increases or no increases at all if that's what the study shows.
So we're getting a lot better at developing our capital improvement plan, and I think a lot of that would be in conjunction with the capital improvement plan and future needs that they would have for repairs. One thing that we haven't really talked about that eventually is going to need replacing is the roof, for example. So as I mentioned earlier tonight, we've spent about 3 years in a row of doing some major investments that have long been needed at senior housing. We've got at least one more year dealing with that. So I could see that we could make this a part of our general budget process and incorporate that into it on an annual basis.
That's probably the most fair for everybody.
Yep. So it coincides with our fiscal year, so the leases are July 1st to June 30th. So if you approve this tonight, that's something that we would easily be able to make the notice and prepare the leases properly.
Okay. I don't see that anybody else has their lights on, so before Mike says it, oh, there we go.
Oh, we were just waiting.
Okay, I was going to say something, and I was going to agree with Mayor Pro Tem Sutherland. I think this should be a part of the annual budget process, whether we adjust it or not. The last time we did this was 2018, which is a long time ago. And I think as long as it should be part of the fee schedule, the budget itself, just so we are always keeping on top of this and making a conscious decision to do it or not. So it's never an easy decision, but it is a necessary one to be fiscally responsible. All right, I have two lights, and I'll pick one. Councilmember Baranski.
That's fine. I think he was first, but that's fine. I have actually a question for Don. And I could be wrong in my information. So this is an enterprise fund, so the senior center has to have the money to do the repairs. And so the senior housing, thank you, sorry. Senior housing. So the recommended $40 is to make sure we can do the needed repairs. Probably going to need to build up a stockpile for additional repairs, like you mentioned, the roof. If I'm correct, and I could be wrong, but in the past, it was not fully self-funded, in that the city was supplementing to allow the senior housing to survive at the rent it was. Is there a mechanism for the city to go back and get from that enterprise funds the money we previously paid?
So if I understand your question, you're asking if we could pay ourselves back.
Right, yep, that's exactly what I'm asking.
I do not know that answer right now. It's not something that's ever come up.
I would like you to look into that because I think part of our fiduciary responsibility to all of the residents, since we did for years and years not operate it properly, do that. So it's not saying that we can't do this, but that should be evaluated as part of our, especially when we're going to talk next week about tax and.
It makes sense for them to go in tandem.
Yeah, so.
All right, Councilmember Odell.
Yeah, I'll echo both of those sentiments. I mean, not having a rent increase since 2018 is pretty much unheard of anywhere. As much as I don't like to raise rent on seniors, I think it needs to be self-sustaining. We're not in the business of subsidizing housing. That's not what we're here for. It's not fair to all the other residents. So I think it should be looked every year. Sometimes there'll be no cost, but costs go up every year to maintain, to pay employees, to fix up repairs, things of that nature. It all goes up accordingly. So I'll make the motion to increase the monthly rent at the senior housing by $40 with a 60-day notice to all residents as submitted to the council.
I'll second it.
Oh.
Who wants to second it?
Go ahead, you're good.
All right. Just to comment on the past subsidy of the enterprise, of the senior housing. Councilmember Shornack and I had started addressing this when we first got on council. And one of the things was that a lot of the work by DPW was done without work orders and without proper accounting. And so a lot of that work is just happened without any kind of tangible way to say this receipt was paid for by the city out of the general fund and went to the senior housing. So so we've been working for, and stressing that for years, this needs to stand alone. A couple other things about it is the city does not pay itself property taxes. So the apartments, while they are funded through an enterprise fund, they don't pay anything towards our first responders, towards ambulance, towards police, towards fire, anything like that. So that's one of the things that I'd like to see us have a good handle on how much those things cost, or at least incorporate that. Other nonprofits or municipal organizations often pay payment in lieu of taxes to cover those kind of costs, and it's a cost that's determined between the municipality and the other municipality or entity. So, City Attorney, Mr. Denault, please.
Thank you. Your comments made me realize that our rental agreement right now for the seniors is $380 per month. We're talking about the one bedroom, $380 per month, and then a $200 per month operation and maintenance fee. So when we authorize a motion to increase their monthly by 40, how are we allocating that 40? Is it going into rental rate, or is it going into operation and maintenance, or are we splitting it equally or proportionally, or what is the preference, if any, on what to do with the $40 and how to apportion it in the new agreement? Because ultimately, they're going to ask me to look at this agreement and tailor it, and I'm going to need to know where to put that.
Well, why did we divide it up that way in the first place?
The assumption would be when this was drafted and developed, $200 a month represented an estimate of what it costs to maintain the property.
So are we legally better to put it in the rent?
I don't know that there's a legal better, as long as if we put it in maintenance, we can justify that it costs that much to maintain. $240 now for the one bedrooms.
Do we have to justify it?
As a municipality, we do. Anytime we have fees for maintenance or costs or administrative oversight, we have to not be a profit-making enterprise.
No, right, I meant, but if we put it in the rent,
Well, either way, it can't be a
Either way, we have to
profit-making
justify.
enterprise. I just wondered if the council had a preference in terms of what we call this increase. Is it rental rate increase? Is it maintenance increase? Or is it a combination? I know it's a very technical question, but Mr. Mayor's comments made me think about it.
There I go again.
I think it makes sense to just split it. I think that doing that equally, we could justify both.
And then going forward, next year, we can determine which one, but it's been so long, 50/50 is not a bad way to go.
yeah.
So do we have to amend the motion?
All right,
Poor Patrick. Can't get a
back to the
motion out
motion
without me.
here. All right, I'll rescind my prior motion and do a new motion to increase the monthly rent in the senior housing by $20 and the monthly maintenance and repair by $20 within a 60-day notice to all residents.
And I'll second that.
Okay, motion by Councilmember Odell, seconded by Councilmember Stein to increase the senior apartment rent by $20 per month and the senior operations fee by $20 per month for both single or one-bedroom and two-bedroom apartments. Any member of the audience like to speak on this? Did you want to speak, Ray?
And the name is Ray Wojciechowski from Fraser Senior Housing. I was kind of floored, when you mentioned the price, because I got a statement from the City of Warren for their senior housing, and I know we have our, like at Stillwell, we're charging $680 for a two-bedroom. At Stillwell, they're charging $600. For a one-bedroom, we're charging $580. At Stillwell, they're charging $461. So I don't know where these totals, these are, this is right off their bulletin board that I got this today. So in regard to that, oh, please excuse me, I'm losing my voice too. Don't ever get cancer, that's all I'm going to tell you guys. I don't really know exactly, how. Alan, could I ask you how you got your totals, from what cities?
It's in the packet.
We have it in the packet here. You can review it. I think
We have a rent analysis table that compares it. Right now, we are the lowest. With this change, Warren will be the lowest and will be pretty close to the second lowest.
These are city operated like Roseville, East to East Point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I've never seen that information. That part I'd like to see.
It's in our packet online.
Yeah, I can take. I might come back tomorrow, take a look at it, and we got the totals. Otherwise, I'll be honest with you. When everybody else is coming to these meetings, you guys probably know I'm probably the only one from Fraser Senior Housing coming to these meetings. But a few years ago, I thought that the city should really increase our rent because of the water. Everybody was complaining here about water. The citizens were coming in, coming right up here saying, I have a $300, $400 water bill. We were not paying for water. So I really can't argue with the $40.
Yay.
So, take it from there. Okay.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Another thing to look at for next year.
Anyone else? All right, so we have a motion on the table. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it, and thank you very much, everyone. Item number 7I, ordinance amendment to consolidate precincts.
So with the changes in the state law, it gives us the ability to do some consolidation of our precincts in the city. August has taken a look at the registered voters that we have in the different precincts that we have, and he has put together a map that consolidates us from 7 precincts down to 5. This is something that will be beneficial and a cost savings to the city. We've moved around, I believe, 1 location from City Hall to Fraser High School. And then also part of this, the rationale is that we have early voting and so many other options for people that we don't really have as big a turnout at election or at the polls during election day.
Okay. Anything you'd like to add?
This is unique. The state and the county only require, oh, mine doesn't work, only require a resolution of the election commission, and we met back in February. We had 4 maps. 2 of them were the same, 2 of them were absurd. You had to draw up some options. Our specific charter says, though, that this is done by ordinance locally. So we have to add this extra step. So this is going to be good for the city. I did not go with 4,000 person precincts. We could go up to almost 5,000. I don't think we're quite there yet with our early voting and our absentee voting to justify that many people being in a precinct. So we can always do this again in 3-4 years if we see that those lists get up. So this will save us a lot of money on maintenance costs on the machines, and when they have to get new machines in 2 years, we'll be able to get less.
And probably help on staffing as well.
Yes, yes.
Councilmember Shornack.
I would make a motion. I always wondered why we had so many precincts because it didn't even make sense about where there one. There was 2 of them already in one, so why just not make it one precinct? But anyway,
With 897 people in it, that's unbelievable.
yeah. So yeah. So I would make a motion to go with the recommendation of the city clerk to combined and lower it to 5 from, what did you say, 7? Yeah. Locations.
All right, we have a motion by Councilmember Shornack, seconded by Councilmember Baranski. We have a comment or a light by Mr. Councilmember Odell.
Yeah, I was on that election commission helping make that decision. It doesn't make sense now with early voting because the city council chambers you can vote, 7 days ahead of time? 9 days ahead of time. So we don't have the lineups on election day like we used to. It doesn't make sense. We're 2 square miles. I mean, you're going to be able to find a location. My only thing, before our next election coming up, what type of communication with the residents that in these affected areas do you anticipate doing and how?
So there's requirements, legal requirements to notify all the residents. We have a mailing already designed because we're not the first to do this. Many communities are doing this right after the presidential. It's a big postcard that says your precinct's changed. It has flags all over it. Then we can also publish it. We can social media it. We're going to do it with plenty of time for November. The big change is going to be people that are going to be going to the high school, and which is just set up perfectly for a precinct at the gym. And then this will be the AV counting room from now on. But yeah, we have to notice every voter, even if they don't change. So that'll help with the talk around town that there was some consolidation.
Okay, perfect.
We already got a price for that, and it's much cheaper than I thought. It's going to be like under $3,000 to mail the whole city.
Okay,
To the
perfect.
house. So.
Councilmember Baranski.
Being one of the people that's going to be affected, because I loved coming to City Hall to vote, but it is the right thing to do. My only other recommendation, if you could put a note on the door, because I guarantee I'm going to show up here.
That's another
I
rule.
know that day.
That's another state law that we have to put a note on the
Okay.
door that says,
I'll be like-
in case you missed it, you were relocated. Yeah, and that's just smart governance
Right.
anyway. So,
Okay,
yeah.
perfect.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion by, who made the, Shornack. Okay, Councilmember Shornack, seconded by Councilmember Baranski. Any member of the audience would like to speak on this? All right, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. What? Item 7J, consideration of forming a library renovation and expansion subcommittee. City Manager.
I received an email from I think, library chair requesting that we consider putting together a subcommittee to meet with them and work towards finding a agreeable solution to the renovation of the library building. As you all know, they are now the full owners of the library building. The city is no longer owners of that building. They did have a bond that they passed, I believe, going on a couple years now.
No, millage.
I'm sorry, millage, yes. Thank you. And
They want a bond. They want a bond.
Right, yes, so the millage was for them to make improvements to either an existing facility or to build a new facility. We had the delay of about a year plus with the car that crashed into the building. We got all of that situated and the closing of the sale of the building to the library group. So they're really looking to put together a subcommittee and talk about what they need to do and looking for some help and guidance so that next time they come to council to request a bond for their improvements, they have a better understanding of what it is the council is looking for. So at this point, they would be looking for 2 to 3 members of council that would be willing to serve on a subcommittee to meet with them. if council should so choose.
Mayor Pro Tem Sutherland.
If we choose to do this, I would like to nominate Councilmember Baranski to be on the committee.
Okay. Councilmember Bransky.
I will nominate Councilmember Sutherland and Councilmember Shornack. The reason Councilmember Shornack and I had met after the first attempt to get a bond, Councilmember Shornack and I did sit down and meet with the director and 3 other board members, I think, to explain and have open dialogue, which eventually got us to here. And so, yeah, oh, that's right, we did. Yeah, I've done a lot. I don't know if it's needed, because the one thing I'll say is, I'm not going to know till they come, but I'm happy to sit down with them to explain from my perspective why, to reiterate what I need as a fiduciary for the city. So for that purpose, I'm never opposed to meeting. I just don't know that I can speak for you. It's different, right? But that being said, I'm fine with it.
Thank you. I'm not sure it's necessary at this point. As you said, any of us can go speak to anybody at the library board or the director. We found in the street, in the industrial park, when we all addressed it together, all in the room, it seemed to work pretty well. And like you, I won't know it till I see it. I'm a resident, I'm a taxpayer, I'm also making a decision, a fiduciary determination whether this city can float a bond that they will pay back. I have no doubt that as long as they have the power to levy that millage, they can pay that bond back. So it's not a matter of their ability to pay, it's what are they proposing to the whole city? And in that role, I'm a resident as well. So I guess I'm kind of like a wait and see as to whether this is necessary. And we are a separate entity. Even though we are forever intertwined with the Fraser Library and the City of Fraser, in the minds of many, we're the same thing. But legally, we are not. We have this one connection on the bond issue that is really the only glue that holds us together legally. Is that an accurate statement, Mr. Denault? In general.
The only bond that holds us together legally. Yeah, I think that is an accurate statement in general. The only other bond we have is, as a result of deeding the property, we did retain access easement rights to the parking lot site for the cemetery.
Okay. So that's my thought. I don't need one at this point in time, but go ahead, Mayor Pro Tem.
I think just with all of the challenges that we had last time that the library came before us with the bond request, that in the interest of transparency and open communication with them as far as what we're seeking, and to, even if it's to rehash some of that history, that even if it only results in one meeting, that there's really no harm, especially if there are 2 or 3 of us that are willing to do it, to just sit down, if for no other reason, to keep those lines of communication open, and because the library board has asked us to do so.
Is that a motion?
Sure.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Sutherland, seconded by Councilmember Baranski, to establish a subcommittee for the purpose of,
Open communication with the library.
okay, open communication with the library. Any member of the audience would like to, or any member of council would like to speak on this? Any member of the audience? Okay. All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. And so I guess we have a subcommittee, and now we need members for that. We did not make that as part of the motion.
I'm happy to do it.
Would you like to make a motion for subcommittee members?
Motion, but, okay, I'll make a motion that myself, Councilmember Shornack, and Mayor Pro Tem Sutherland serve on the subcommittee.
And I'll second that.
Okay, motion by Councilmember Baranski, seconded by Councilmember Stein to create a subcommittee or nominate members of Councilmember Baranski, Shornack, and Sutherland to the subcommittee. Now, would that include a report out after you?
We can do that.
That would be appreciated.
Sure.
It's all about communication.
Yeah.
All right, any comments from council? All right, any member of the audience? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We now have members. Thank you. And I put my agenda over here. All right, item number 8A, McKenna Building Department Services Contract.
This is a returning item of business from our last meeting. We have been able to work between our attorney and McKenna's to come up with some language that we are in agreement with for council to consider approving the contract with McKenna for building department services.
Mr. Janal, would you like to explain what has transpired in the month since we first discussed this?
Absolutely, thank you. If you remember last month, one of the concerns from McKenna was that their insurance carrier had trouble with the full indemnity language that I wanted for the city. And so the proposal at that time to be explored was, could we split it in two? Could we split it, because apparently they have two carriers, one for errors and omissions and one for general liability. So could we split it up, have a clause that satisfies their general liability carrier and also a clause that satisfies their errors and omissions carrier? I did that. Pretty much giving them the language for the most part they wanted on general liability. They gave us everything we wanted on errors and omissions, and there was no back and forth. It was done.
Mayor Pro Tem Sutherland.
So then I'll make a motion to approve the contract with McKenna as presented.
Okay, we have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Sutherland, seconded by Councilmember Baranski, to accept the McKenna Building Department Services Contract as amended. Any member of council like to speak on this? You all set?
Oh, yeah.
Councilmember Perry.
I just want to make sure somebody's going to be here 3+ days a week to do inspections and plan overlooks, because I'm hearing that things aren't getting done in a timely fashion. And we were supposed to originally partner with Roseville, which was supposed to be, I believe, 5 days a week. They were supposed to cover every day of the week. And I want to just make sure that this is going to be properly done. I don't know who can speak to this.
Mr. Mayor, if I may?
Yes, please.
I just want to be clear, Mr. Perry, that the contract as proposed by McKenna and as approved only requires inspection services on Mondays and Wednesdays between 8 a.m. and noon. But they also have a clause in there that requires them to get them done within 48 hours of request. So it almost works if you do the math on the days of the week, where they will be able to honor their 48 hours and presumably would honor that every Monday and Wednesday. The building official will be here 3 days a week, 8 to noon on Tuesdays, 8 to noon on Thursdays, and 8 to 4 on Fridays. And obviously, in the event of a conflict or something, they have to give it back to us. They have to make it up to us. So that's how it's currently structured, because I know you started your comments with 3 days a week for inspections, and that is not how it is structured. It is Monday and Wednesday mornings.
Okay.
But there will.
Thank you for explaining it.
But there will be a building official here 3 days a week.
Correct, and maybe that was part of the misunderstanding or confusion in what's being talked about. There will be someone here 3 days a week. That person's job will not be to go do inspections, though. The inspectors will be understood or expected to be doing their jobs on Mondays and Wednesdays between 8 and noon, and certainly within 48 hours of request.
Does that satisfy your question?
You answered my question, but I'm not really happy with the amount of coverage. But that's just my opinion. It means nothing.
Okay. All right. We have someone, are you with McKenna, or?
I do have to be
Are-
McKenna. If I address the,
Are you part of this conversation, or?
I am.
Yeah, well, then please, come on up. Absolutely.
Well, first of all, Honorable Mayor, esteemed council members, I am Carson Clausen, and I'm your interim building official. And so I've been here for the last, I'd say, Bob, month? I've been working for the last month, and I can assure you that, like, plan reviews, they happen right away, when they're in front of me. So I address that, quickly, with great confidence, 90% of the time. And when I need to, I have other people I can lean on the commercial plan reviews.
Okay.
That also address those. In terms of inspections, though, as well, with regards to me being here on Friday, I'm also more than capable and have been doing inspections on Fridays. So the building inspections and anything I can do to also help our planner. And on the zoning side, I also am basically inspecting, and I'm here to support, the City of Fraser's, building department in whatever manner I can, along with, Bob and the code enforcement officers, 3 days a week.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
any other questions you have, just please don't hesitate to, contact me anytime.
Can you spell your name?
My first name is Carson, Karson, and the last name is Clausen, like the pickle. It's Claussen.
And you plan on being here, you said you're the interim building official?
Well, I'm your acting building official.
Okay.
Yeah, so interim, I misspoke. I'm your acting building official.
Okay, you're not leaving anytime soon?
Not at all.
Okay, that's
Yeah, no, I've
what I was
really
checking
enjoyed
on.
my time here and getting to know the people in the city.
Okay. Councilmember Odell.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, you're scheduled for Mondays and Wednesdays. If a contractor needs an inspection and they're coming in on Thursday to request one, they're not going to get one to the following Monday to even schedule one, correct?
Well, it depends on what, we've got different types of inspections, and those are the trade inspections and then the building. And so I perform, the building inspections, and I'm here Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday.
I'm talking for like a typical residence, let's say they're getting windows installed or they're getting hot water heater installed or something along those lines. If they're not lined up on Monday or Wednesday to schedule it, they could be waiting 3-4 days over the weekend to, if they're not in on Wednesday or to schedule it on that Wednesday, they could be waiting 3 to 4 days if I'm.
Bob's going to answer for you.
Oh, okay.
That's what my concern was.
Just for your general everyday home improvements, what concerned me last time when we were looking at this was along Councilman Perry's is that it's taking way too long for simple inspections to be done, pool inspections or something like that. But can you speak to that?
Yeah, right now they're here Tuesdays and Thursdays, and Carson's here all day Fridays. We do have our trade inspectors, they do theirs as plumbing, mechanical, and electrical. They do them from 8 to 12 on Tuesdays and Thursdays only.
So that's a very small window for small repairs that can really hold up progress for home improvements.
Correct, I hear it every day.
Thank you.
And there was a 24 or 48-hour, if they request one on Thursday, could happen 48 hours, which might be Monday, possible.
Yeah, and that's where there's some ambiguity in what McKenna is going to do about that, because they promise a 48-hour inspection, but yet, what if the request comes in at 12:01 on Wednesday? It's not getting done by Friday at 12:01 because there is no inspection on Friday. So it's getting done next Monday at 8 a.m. or so. So there is a little bit of overpromising, I think, on the 48-hour thing. The hope, I think, would be, though, that most of the requests are going to come in within a window. They can get them done on Monday or Wednesday in that time frame. But I can't speak for McKenna and why they chose that hourly or that daily option.
Well, I think we have to look at the weekends. If we're here Tuesdays and Thursdays, and they can schedule inspections online or call them in. So let's say, I guess, give me a time when they call an inspection in. Let's say it's Wednesday afternoon. It'll be inspected on Thursday. If they call on Friday, can't really account for the weekend.
Right.
It'll be installed, or they'll be inspected on Tuesday morning. So that, when you look at the, I guess the work week, we are meeting that 48-hour requirement because the weekend really isn't considered.
It's just, for me, it's not optimal for the residents. It's not your fault. It's just how the contract's structured. I don't know. I feel that for most the type of home improvements that our residents need inspections for, and for what we charge them and stuff, they should get a lot quicker turnaround time than 4 hours on a Monday and a Wednesday.
I guess the only other thing I'd share is that it's not that the City of Fraser's, let's say, being placed in a situation that many, many other communities in Metro Detroit are facing. So it's a very similar situation, whether you're talking Grosse Pointe Woods or the village of Lathrop Village, or the city of Lathrop Village, and other communities as well, Berkeley. So this is not at all uncommon, unfortunately. I mean, the costs of fully manning a building department and inspections is just it's untenable, it's unsustainable for many, many, cities. And that's just an unfortunate fact.
Okay, I have several lights here. I'm going to start with the city attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to, I don't know if Mr. Clausen knows, but the contract says Mondays and Wednesdays. He has said Tuesdays and Thursdays twice now. Is that the current operating procedure, is Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then it's going to switch to Mondays and Wednesdays for inspections? Because that's what the contract...
So unfortunately, my director, Mr. Woodrick, was unable to attend, and so I was happy to come back, today. So I don't have the answer to that, but I can get you that answer straight away tomorrow morning when I arrive.
I just want to be clear on that, because when we use an analogy of, how long will it take, that was my analogy. If they get a request at 12:30 on a Wednesday, it's not getting done until the following Monday, right? Which is more than the 48 hours promised, but maybe the promise, they'll honor that promise, and these are the regular inspection times. Maybe they'll make a special exception and get inspectors out within 48 hours, because that's the expectation in the contract.
Okay. Right, city manager.
So adding on to a little bit of what Carson has said, and Don as well, we have two different roles here. So we've got the building inspector and the building official. So one of the things that Mr. Clausen has mentioned is that he can fill in for both roles. So we have that. The other thing to consider is that we have this monthly retainer amount for having a building official in the role. We currently do not have anywhere near enough workload to sustain having a full-time building official and someone here every day of the week. We would be pretty much throwing money out the window, because the majority of the time they would be sitting there with nothing to do. And that's one of the reasons why, and Mr. Clausen kind of alluded to that, is that most communities, especially ones that are built out and don't have a big budget to be able to afford a full building department. That's why most communities this size do have this type of schedule where you don't have the inspections and building officials in the office every day.
Okay. Councilmember Baranski.
That's what I was going to say. We had this specific conversation when we talked about Roseville and turned Roseville down, because what Roseville was really looking to do was maintain their employees by contracting with us. They weren't going to be here 5 days a week. They were going to be available, but fiscally, this was the best deal, given the needs of the community in this. So I feel like at this point, now that the contract terms are acceptable to our attorney, I'm going to make a motion to I don't know, was the motion already made? Yep. Okay, then never mind. Then I'm going to call the question.
Okay, Councilmember, well, I have another light from Councilmember Perry.
No, my concern was just like what you were, like what Councilman Odell mentioned. Like if somebody's water heater breaks down on Thursday morning, are they not able to get a water heater replacement till Monday? Or HVAC? I mean, I know we're coming into the spring and summer, so it's going to be warmer, but in the middle of the winter, if someone's furnace breaks, are they going to be on hold for 4 or 5 days because they can't get an inspector over?
No, there's provisions in the Michigan Residential Code that allow for emergency repairs. So
Okay.
that can absolutely be taken care of, because we don't want anyone to die of heat stroke or of cold. So there are provisions right in the first few pages of that very important code book that we follow and that I help, administer.
Okay.
So that will not happen.
Okay.
So even to the point where if somebody needs to execute an emergency repair, they basically have 24 hours to come into the building department or online, apply for a permit stating that an emergency repair was executed or is in the middle of being executed, and so that will not be a holdup.
Okay,
It's called ask for forgiveness.
I know.
All right, who made the motion? I'm sorry, it's been a while. Sutherland, and then seconded by Baranski. Okay, all right, we have a motion on the table. Any member of the audience like to speak on this? All right, motion by Sutherland, seconded by Baranski to approve the McKenna Building Department Services contract. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Okay, we have 6 yes, 1 no, and I believe that was Councilmember Odell. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Contract is adopted. Item number 8B, amendment to Resolution 2025-001, Industrial Park SAD.
This is an amendment that we are requesting. It's really a clerical type item that Angie, in the process of working on creating the SAD and BS&A and consulting with the bond council, would like to see this resolution cleared up from a clerical perspective. So the table that we had inserted in the resolution actually had the 15 years worth of interest included in it, and that was redundant because in the following paragraph it talked about the interest expense. So we just wanted to make sure that we have the base price, pre-tax price in the resolution. And then also, as far as the interest rate, I know in our ordinance it says that we shall charge 6%, but with the municipal bonds, it's a little bit different. We have to defer to them, so their workaround for that was to change the language to not more than 6%. I think bond rates that they're looking at are probably around like 5.5% or something, so it's not really much different. But we legally cannot charge 6%. It can only be 1% above what the rate is.
Okay, so that's what it was. It was a set 6%? Is that-
Right, so in our ordinance, it says with an SAD, we shall charge 6%, but in the circumstances of bonding, we can only charge 1% over what the rate is.
Okay. Very good. I have 2 lights. Councilmember Shornack.
Oh, I was just going to make a motion, because I know you got to set up that lovely GL to approve the amended resolution 2025-001 Industrial Park Assessment, Special Assessment District.
Second.
Okay, motion by Councilmember Shornack, seconded by Councilmember Odell to adopt the amendment to Resolution 2025-001 Industrial Park SAD. Any other comments by council? Any member of the audience? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. All right, we're making good time. Item number 9, report of city administration.
So first of all, I would like to congratulate Angie. She had her tax settlement with the county, and it was error-free, so congratulations to her and her team. On Wednesday, we had some intoxilizer training here in the office. It was not just our officers, but also from neighboring communities. As you'll recall, this was something that we have not had an intoxilizer here. We've been utilizing it from Roseville. State police are the ones that manage all of that, and they were here to do the training, and we had great turnout for 2 different training programs, or hours.
That's what he just asked.
Like, I need you to drive me to intoxilizer. Literally, it's for work. Testing. It's for
I just
drink for
want to also mention, we had a water issue on Garfield today. There was a problem with some of the valves, and we kept having to back up to shut off water. We were not able to get out notifications as it was occurring. It was an emergency type situation. We did put notice out on Facebook and our website to try and get word out. Hopefully that issue has been resolved. Okay. Okay. They were hoping to have everything back up and functioning by 6 tonight. Our new communications associate, Shane, has started this week. She's got a lot of energy and starting to get going through the training videos for both our cable station and our website. Thanks to Chris for helping with Facebook, and I've been manning the website in the interim, so fortunate to finally have somebody getting back in so we can hopefully get back up to the level that we were with notices when Starsha was here. Tomorrow we have an engineering meeting here regarding the industrial park sub-roads. So they will be here, kind of a drop-in type of event, and that'll be around lunchtime if anybody wants to stop by. It's more about the pre-planning and staging for the road project. Great thing that Mary helped us get taken care of is cleaning the conference or council chambers chairs and also some of our conference room chairs. So they actually even went a little step further and did some of the floor in here as well. Talking about some of the recreation events that we have, obviously we've got the marshmallow drop happening this Saturday. We've pretty much got all of the slots full. We did have some people that were on the hold list. I can't remember what it's
Waiting
called.
list.
Waiting list, thank you. And because we had so few people that were in the age, I think, or adult group, we changed that to open it up to all ages, and we've got a lot of those people that have transferred over. So we've got pretty much 600 people expected for the marshmallow drop on Saturday. The pavilion rentals have opened. We have not gotten that many pavilion rentals yet, so if anybody wants to get those, come on into the office. We'll be able to help you with that. In May, it opens for non-residents. The Skyhawks program, we did push back the date because there have not been a lot of people that have signed up for the programming. Talking about that earlier, things have changed. People have different things that they're interested in doing. A lot of it revolves around computers and phones, unfortunately. So hopefully we will be able to get more people involved in that. If you don't register, then it's a program that we likely will not support in the future. Other park events, the Weave piece that was several years ago at McKinley Park is going to be here at Stephens Park. That's April 11th to the 13th. This is kind of an interactive art piece, so certainly invite people to come and take a look at that. Other than that, we've got a couple other events coming in May. Let's Go Fly a Kite, and the Big Bounce House will be back. So that's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for the city manager?
So is the weave piece only here for, like, the weekend?
That's the only
No,
day.
but 6 weeks, five,
Is it 6 weeks?
several weeks.
No, right.
Yeah, it's,
But it's on the baseball diamond,
yeah, we put it up Saturday.
so they can't use the baseball diamond for that period?
Yeah,
So 6 weeks?
May, sometime in
She said 4/11 to 4/13, that's why I was like, that was a lot of effort.
5/13.
5/13, okay.
That's somewhere in there.
I was like, that was a lot of effort for 2 days.
I have,
Okay, thank you.
No, yeah.
I do have one question. Somebody was asking today about pavilion rentals on Facebook, and she asked, can we use the park can we still have a party in the park? And I said, yes, but if somebody's renting a pavilion, you can't use that pavilion. Are we posting who's renting that pavilion so that if somebody comes, pavilion's empty, but it says reserved? Is there anything like that so that,
Any type of like signage or?
yeah, it just says this is reserved for, Mike Lessig for, it's just a,
We don't have anything, but I think that's a good idea.
it's
and
just
we
a
can-
thought to avoid conflict, because I've been there, I've seen people that show up and, hey, we're having a party here and you would need to leave.
Yeah, I
So-
think that's a great idea. We should be able to implement something like that.
And I did tell her she can have a party in the park, it's just, can't use the pavilion if it's rented.
Yeah, so reserving the pavilion gives you exclusive use for that pavilion.
Okay. All right. Item number 10, report of mayor and city council. We'll start with Councilmember Perry tonight.
I have nothing at this time.
Councilmember Stein.
I have nothing at this time.
Wow. Councilmember Shortak.
Oh, I always have something. Yeah, so the museum will be having their open house coming up on May the 4th. And they are doing the hats still, so, and they have a photo booth. So if you want to come with your family and friends and get silly pictures with old-fashioned hats, please show up. They will be there. They are also asking for sponsors for the 150th anniversary. There are a bunch of different levels for sponsors because they're planning a bunch of fun things for families. So platinum sponsors 1,000, gold is 500, silver is 250, bronze is 100, supporters 50, and then a friend is 5. So I don't know, did they give you this to put up? Okay, I'll give it to you because I told them I'd bring it. But anyway, there's a sheet for it, and they're asking for donations. They're going to have raffle baskets, music, food, pioneer demonstrations. The barn and the house will be open for tours. They'll have lots of hand-on activities. I opted in for glass blowing, but they said no things with fires, and that just disappointed me greatly, but that's okay. But they do have a lot of good things that they're trying to come up with for that. So the anniversary celebration is going to be on September 7th. It will be a full-day event from 9 to 4. So definitely put that on your calendars because there will be a lot of fun. And then I found a bunch of cute little costumes because they want to dress in time period accurate clothing. And guess who has that? Amazon. I know you're surprised by that. So besides that, just wanted to wish everybody a happy Easter because we won't have a regular meeting between there now and then.
Okay.
So.
Councilmember Baranski.
I don't have anything.
Councilmember Odell.
Happy Easter as well to those who celebrate. And as a tax preparer who's been stuck in the tax office, don't forget Tuesday is your deadline to file your taxes, whether you owe or get a refund, but it can slip the mind. So other than that, just have a great month and see you next month.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Sutherland.
Nothing.
Wow.
Hey.
No, this is great. I have a couple things. Let's see. Number one, in the consent agenda, we did proclaim Friday, April 25th, 2025 as Arbor Day in the City of Fraser. There's 4 requirements: maintaining a tree board or department, that would be under our DPW, having a community tree ordinance, spending at least $2 per capita on urban forestry. I'm sure we did that in the past year, and celebrating Arbor Day. So let's celebrate Arbor Day. And tree canopies are important. They help cool down our cities. They make them look better. And so on Friday, April 25th, go out and hug a tree and just say thank you to a tree. So next up is on April 30th, 2025, there's a small business resource fair in the city of East Point. It's put on by the city of East Point, but it has a ton of sponsors, local sponsors. It's April 30th from 10 to 2 at East Point City Hall. I will be posting this on Facebook, and I'll give a copy to the city manager. Maybe we can put that. One more thing, can we post the budget on the city website? That would be helpful, so I can point, as we go through this process, if we have any adjustment, I can point people to that and say, here's the budget, here's where it got updated, and so we have a single point.
Yep, we've already got it up there as part of the packet, but I can also put it on the
Yeah, I would like
finance
it,
department's
if
page
we can
as well.
put it out there and say, this is the 25-26 budget. Yes, proposed, thank you.
We didn't pass anything.
No. And then fee schedule, will that be part of the discussion next week as well? Or will that be follow-on?
It may be ready for next week.
Okay.
And I know one other thing that we've talked about is a 2-year budget. We just have not had time, but we're certainly going to still see if we can try and get some numbers.
Just as long as it's on our radar. And,
Yeah, definitely.
all right, that's all I have. Now we will open it up for item number 11, citizen participation. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to tell us something tonight? Come on up. Can you hold on just a minute, Mrs. Lesich?
I'm so sorry. I forgot something. I do not know. Yes. Mr. Gitschlag, there is an upcoming city council election this November. with 3 seats that are up for election. So as far as deadlines for getting signatures and submitting your paperwork, I think if anyone is interested in running for council, you can come up to City Hall and get a packet which has information on what you need to do to run. And then the request to submit signatures to be on the ballot is July 21st? July 22nd.
Yeah, everything, we have full packets at the clerk's office, the packets are available. Everything but the petition is available at the clerk's office online.
Okay.
You can't print the petitions, you got to get ours. But everything else involved, the whole rundown, it's all available on the clerk's website.
So if you have a passion for city government, put yourself out there.
Or an opinion.
All right, and I have one more item. I'm remiss in saying this. Anna Cameron, former Fraser City Council member from the 90s, I believe it was, passed away recently, and her service to the city is appreciated. She was also a founding member of Fraser First, and she will be missed. So condolences to her family. All right, we'll go to the citizen participation. Welcome, citizen. Please state your name and tell us why you're here.
Laura Lessage, 1501 Fairview. I'm here on behalf of Fraser First, and to piggyback on the weave piece, I would just like to add that the structure is up, and if you can see it in the first, it's in the Diamond 1, I would say. We will be here as a club this weekend, starting tomorrow at Friday at 3 o'clock. A few of us will be here to kind of talk about the project and be here for the marshmallow drop. Since we'll have a lot of activity in the park, we can kind of talk about what the weave piece is all about. It's supposed to be an idea that to get you familiar with the fact that we want to put something more in this park. So we're going to talk about our Reimagine project that the Fraser First has been looking into, and have partnering with the city on that. So we'll be there to talk about the weave piece. We'll also be there on Sunday. So when city manager mentioned that for the weekend, us as a club will be there on the weekend for some hours to talk about it and explain putting up your intentions, your hopes, your dreams on these ribbons, and you attach them to the weave piece and let them flow. And you can get the feel of the community when you read all these different intentions, things like, peace and be involved and all that kind of stuff. We have these ribbons stationed at different areas within the city, at Fraser Hall, Fraser City Hall, the Ram's Horn, and the Fraser Public Library will have these. So when the club is not there, anybody can go there, pick up these ribbons, write your intention, and put it on the weave piece. We hope to have the weave piece there for several weeks, depending on how it holds up in the weather. We did check it out today, and with all the snow and everything, it did fare okay. So we hope that a lot of the community comes out and looks at this great artwork that I should say it's from. The creator is Michelle Miller Hansen, and she did an art prize in Grand Rapids in 2014, and that's how we got familiar with the project, which I should mention too, we put it up in McKinley back in 2016 to kind of get the community involved in what McKinley was all about. So we thought this was a good way to open this up again. The next meeting for Fraser First is next Wednesday, April 16th at 6:30 at Hanover Grove. And please come and join us, and we can talk about other things that Fraser First will be doing this year. I also want to mention that the VFW Spaghetti Dinner, again, is on the fourth Wednesday of the month, which is Wednesday, April 23rd. So please come out and support the VFW. And I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else in the audience would like to speak tonight? All right, the last item, whatever the item then is motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Sutherland, seconded by Councilmember Shornack to adjourn the meeting at 8:29 PM. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned.
Bob.
Thanks.
Bob, don't leave.
Real quick, all the-
Yeah.